It's At Home with AJ. I'm glad that you could welcome the Kingsville Public Library into your home today and that you could join me in mine. Today we're going to be making a fun recipe. It is hot milk sponge cake. It's a very versatile recipe. You can whip it up in a hurry and do a lot of different things with it, which is why I really like it. It doesn't take a whole lot of ingredients. You'll find the recipe and the ingredients down in the comment section, but it's pretty simple. You're going to need some eggs, some milk, some flour, some sugar, a little bit of butter, and some baking powder. Make sure it's powder, not soda, and a little bit of salt for that whole science thing if you've tuned in for a video before. So we are going to mix this up, and then when it really gets fun is deciding how you're going to top it or take this cake to the next level. So let's get started. So the hardest part about this recipe is being patient, because there's a couple steps that take a few minutes. And the first step is beating the eggs. Hopefully you have a stand mixer, because you're going to beat your eggs about 4 to 5 minutes. So if you have a hand mixer, you're going to get kind of bored. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Is I'm going to dump my eggs in here. Then I'm going to mix together my dry ingredients and, I don't know, watch a movie or something? Just kidding. Let's mix up our eggs. And once we have beat our eggs for about 4 minutes, we're just going to gradually start adding our sugar. Once you've gradually added all the sugar, here comes that waiting part again. You're going to mix it for about 4 to 5 minutes until all the sugar is well combined. So once our sugar is mixed in well, we're going to combine our dry ingredients, our salt, baking powder, and flour, and we're going to pour it into the cake mix. And remember that your salt is important for the leavening in making the baking powder work together and get that fluffiness to your cake. So we're going to gradually mix in our flour. So over medium heat, we're just going to heat up our milk and our butter until the butter is completely melted, and then we will add it back to our cake mixture. We're now going to mix our hot milk into our batter. And we're just going to mix it until it's well combined. Once our batter is well mixed, we'll just scrape that bowl just to make sure, and we're just going to pour it into our square greased baking pan, and we will put it into the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. And this is one of the times that I really like using a glass pan, because the sponge cake is kind of tricky. When you're checking it, you will definitely want to use the knife or the toothpick method of checking to see if your cake is done, which means you're going to stick a butter knife or a toothpick in the center of your cake. And if it comes out clean, the cake is done. If there's still batter or stuff stuck to it, you'll need to do a few more minutes. The reason I like a glass pan is because you can actually look at the sides and see how well things are baking, and if there's a problem. Now the problem with the sponge cake is because it's such a moist and fabulous cake, if you try and do the touch test, where you reach in there and kind of poke the cake and see if it springs back, and if it springs back, it's done. If it leaves your fingerprint in there, it's not done. The sponge cake is spongy. Imagine that. But it's so spongy and so moist that when you do the finger poke test, it actually will leave an indentation in the cake even when the cake is done. And you don't want to overcook your sponge cake, because the fabulous thing about this is that it's spongy. And if you overcook it, it won't be. So we're going to put our sponge cake in the oven. So now that our cake is out of the oven, yum, and it's cooled a little bit, about 10 to 15 minutes, we're ready to decide what to do with it next. And the possibilities are endless, which is why I absolutely love this sponge cake. So You could just throw some regular everyday frosting on top of it. You could take a can of that sweetened condensed milk that you boiled for a few hours and put some caramel deliciousness over top of it. It also works really great as a poke cake if you've ever done a poke cake before. And we're just going to take our straw and poke some holes down in here. I don't know why I'm thinking I have to be uniform, because I really don't. And once I have a few holes poked in here, I have actually taken some mandarin oranges, some of the juice, about a half a cup of milk, and some instant pudding. I actually used cream cheese instant pudding because I didn't have any vanilla. And I've mixed that up in my blender. I just threw it all in the blender. Boom. Oranges as is and all, mandarin oranges. And now I'm just going to pour this over top. And initially I'm going to aim for the holes a little bit, just so that it doesn't puddle up on top of my cake. But you're just going to pour this over top of your cake, if you want to. And then once we get it poured over there, and I probably should have poked a few more holes, I think. It's also nice because then when you're done poking the holes, you can pick the cake out of the straw and see how it tastes. You get a little taste of it before everybody else. Nobody knows because you're hiding in the kitchen all by yourself. So we're just going to pour that into these lovely little holes. And then once we get it all poured in there, we'll just pop it in the refrigerator for a couple hours, or until we're ready to eat it, but at least a couple hours. I know in my house they're ready to eat it as soon as I make it. And then you have this delicious, moist, spongy cake. And it's really fun to do this with the different fruits. And you can do this with Jell-O as well, because it just kind of adds a different flavor. It's, you know, we all get chocolate cake and white cake on a regular basis, but it's kind of fun every now and again, you know, when somebody goes, oh, what is this? This is like an orange. You can do a pineapple, you know, canned fruit, whatever you want. You want to make it really fancy. Pears and cinnamon. Ooh. So we're going to pop this in the refrigerator, and it'll be ready in a couple hours. You can also use this as a nice variation on strawberry shortcake, especially if you're running a little low on strawberries. You can do the same thing. We're just going to go along and poke some holes into our cake. Ooh, big old hole there. Poke a hole into our cake. And I just took my strawberries, threw them in the blender with a little bit of powdered sugar to thicken it up, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pour right over top of it. Try and hit those holes. This is a little thicker, so it won't pour in as nicely as our pudding mix did. And then once I get the strawberry filling all over top of it, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let that liquid drain in and set up a little bit. And then my leftover strawberries that I've reserved, these fabulous little tops, I will put that over top, maybe a little bit of Cool Whip first, and then my strawberry pieces, and it will be ready to serve. So after just a couple hours in the refrigerator, you have your delicious orange tropical cake, or your almost shortcake strawberry cake there, and it's ready for dessert or deliciousness. Let's have a party. Thank you for welcoming the Kingsville Public Library into your home today and for joining me in mine. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share so that your friends can become our friends. You can email us, reference@kingsvillelibrary.org. Stay safe, stay well, practice that good social distancing, and we'll see you real soon.